All right, we are live. Dan, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on, man.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, you guys just launched Portal Earn. Congrats on the product launch. Very, very cool to see. We just had a great conversation about stablecoins with Tony. Just passing around little bundles of joy around the world so that banks can make FX. Uh, and I mean, you guys have seen quite a bit of stablecoins go through the Wormhole bridge, and ultimately anticipate that they'll end up in the portal and on Earn. Um, Man, I would love just kind of a foray into Earn. Maybe you could just give us, a primer on this launch, and then we can dig into it, all the positive consequences and second order effects as a result of incorporating this into the Wormhole stack.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so Portal is kind of the main UI for people to use Wormhole going back to around 2021, about a year after Wormhole's like V1 launched. Portal back then was more of a token bridge for wrapped tokens because that was basically the industry standard back then. And of course, over time we've evolved to kind of native burn and mint models, and that's been integrated into Portal. So now comparing Portal now to comparing Portal to 2021 is basically just a completely different product. And the user experience has improved significantly, especially in the past year or so, I would say. And part of that is we were thinking about kind of our goals around volume and driving more users and how do we achieve that. In the solution, one of the solutions we came up with was Portal Earn, which we were kind of looking at as almost like an on-chain version of Binance Earn, if you will. It's a combination of like crypto loyalty programs with things like credit card programs, airline miles. We integrated status and things like this. And the goal is to really reward users. There's already been hundreds of thousands of users using Portal over the years, so why not reward them for doing so? And then on the integrator side, we work with a lot of chains and we work with a lot of asset issuers. And a lot of these partners of ours are already lining up to work with us on Portal Earn because it allows them to work with us to really divert traffic to exactly where they want it to go, even within their chain. So an example is Unichain. We launched this yesterday with Unichain as the first kind of campaign partner. And we're able to incentivize specifically Sol and Hype to go to Unichain. And then even when they land on Unichain, we're able to give, not direct, direction, but suggestions of like, okay, here's a link to this pool that might be incentivized already on Unichain. If you're a user, go check it out after you land on Unichain. So you can imagine if you're Unichain, this is valuable because you're getting traffic driven to your chain, and then you're able to kind of divert that to even the specific parts of DeFi that you want to.
I think it's really counterintuitive for people to start to think about bridging something like Hype outside of the Hyperliquid ecosystem and going into Unichain, but it ultimately it proliferates these assets, and it kind of makes them ubiquitous across several different ecosystems. And you really kind of just have assets and bridges, and that they ultimately land on into these pools, but it makes up each of these ecosystems. And so you're incentivizing some of this activity. I also saw some more bridges kind of open up between Solana base. Hyperliquid is now going to Unichain. When you're thinking about incentives and ultimately like helping people recognize some of the opportunities in LPs and capital, and where they can put that capital on some of these destination chains, like, why did you choose Hyperliquid? Why did you choose to kind of incentivize this particular route? And then how do you make those suggestions? Like, hey, you have Hyperliquid, it's on Unichain, you should maybe go into this pool. What's the if you could open up the black box and tell us a little bit more about the formula that goes into it. What
Yeah.
what what is that?
Yeah, it becomes a lot easier to visualize. Obviously, if people go to the URL, it's earn.portalbridge.com. And it's you connect your wallet, and then you see a list of activities. Those activities basically are, things that you can do to earn rewards, and that could be just a general transfer of a token, which I think is like a 3 XP per dollar transferred. And then the Unichain campaign is bumped up to 10. And the reason why, so go to that website, you can check out kind of how it's all laid out. And then for Unichain specifically, and then for any other chain, a lot of it's actually conversations with the ecosystem that we're working with. So in this case, our BD team was working with various contributors in the Unichain ecosystem, and kind of the output of that was driving Hype and Sol. As a crypto user, I would say those are two of the most, I'd say, high volume popular assets at this time. So it kind of makes sense that you would want those assets onto your new beginning to flourish DeFi ecosystem. So that's how Unichain decided to do this. And then we've got a bunch of other chain launches that are going to be coming as campaigns on Portal Earn. And there will be different strategies even on our end with which assets are being incentivized, which kind of DeFi activities or pools are being incentivized. So it'll vary. And then as we have more and more of these campaigns almost like stacked on top of each other, the users using Portal Earn are going to have the benefit of actually getting to experiment with different ecosystems that they may have previously not necessarily spent the time to get to know.
Yeah, it feels like kind of yield farming is coming back too. This is a phenomenon that we're seeing really just take hold. And I remember this is how I got started because I recognize there's opportunities that if you're looking for them, they are there. And someone may be surface level aware of something like a hyperliquid asset, but as far as the opportunities that they can make, as far as earning some of those rewards, it becomes available once you start to look a little bit deeper. And so now I think we're gonna try to get the portal up on the show. But while we're working on that, I'm curious, this is now another component to the Wormhole stack. You guys have vertically integrated several of these components by partnering with a lot of the chains, the assets that are out there and that are in demand. How does Earn complement the rest of the Wormhole stack? Like you said, a lot of people have been already using Portal, but now you're looping in Earn. I mean, generally the interop space is moving at a breakneck speed.
Mhm.
What's your perspective on the landscape of interop these days, and how does bringing Earn into this help just round out this stack as a whole?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll even zoom out a little bit more than that. Like your previous comment about Hype moving to Unichain and away from the Hyperliquid ecosystem, we really look at the crypto ecosystem as one economy. Of course, there's sub economies, but we think about an asset like Hyperliquid just like we would think about the dollar in the real world. Like you've got dollars in the US, but there's no reason that doesn't flow to Europe, that doesn't flow to Asia. Of course, dollars are everywhere, but these sub economies are like blockchains. So that's how we see assets. We don't see any asset like ETH, like Sol, being limited just to that blockchain. This is all one economy, and Wormhole is connecting all that together, which is why we're so excited about working on a project like this. And I actually previously worked on several blockchain teams. I was in the Polkadot ecosystem for a while, and a few others, and that was I've learned a lot zooming out, being on Wormhole now, and we work with everyone versus these L1s. They're all, super competitive with each other, fighting over the same users and same liquidity oftentimes. So it's really made me even more bullish on the industry, just seeing how it doesn't really matter what new chains launch. It doesn't matter what new chains win. There will be this multi-chain economy, and that's already kind of been established. That wasn't kind of a generally understood concept back when we started Wormhole in 2020. So multi-chain is here to stay, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then how we're looking at Portal in general, and I would say it's more about Portal even than Portal Earn. Portal Earn is like it's the reward and loyalty program that we're putting on top of this. But even more recently, we just announced Portal Swap just a week ago too. This is essentially a DEX. It's for same chain swaps. So if you want to swap Sol for USDC on Solana, you can make that swap, from a Solana wallet to a Solana wallet right in Portal. That's actually powered by Mayan, which is one of the top intense-based cross-chain swaps protocols, but they also power same-chain swaps. So Portal has gone from being, of course, a place where you can transfer tokens from one chain to another, but now you can also accomplish another goal if you want to make a swap on any given chain. And this is really for us just step one in growing Wormhole Portal into a full-on multi-chain trading experience. We're looking at this as a long product roadmap. This is step, I guess, 2 after token transfers, swaps, and can't say exactly what's next, but just imagine some of the bigger DeFi protocols in the industry. These are the types of products that we're building into Portal, and we'll continue to roll out more and more kind of DeFi products so that when a user comes to Portal, like the way we were thinking about it before is like, if you're in New York and you get on a subway, you have a goal. You want to go to a restaurant, or maybe you want to go to your office. But we wanted to provide not only that transportation in between, but we wanted to help them accomplish the goal once they reach that destination. So why only provide a multi-chain transfer? Why not allow them to provide, or why not provide them a DEX swap on Solana once they reach there? And then even when they're on Solana, what if they want to do staking? What if they want to do other forms of trading? This is really how we're thinking about the evolution of Portal.
Yeah. And through this, we can get so much more done. We can accomplish so much more by compressing the amount of events or actions that we can take into a single one. It's less time, it's less thought, it's more innovation after we're through that. We can continue to work down the line and get creative about what's coming up after that. I want to
Yep.
talk a little bit more about what is happening at this earn level and just kind of help users maybe navigate through this program. And so I'm looking at the blog post now. Baseline reward rate is 2 XP per dollar transferred and 1 XP when using stablecoins. And so does that mean you get 2 per dollar no matter the asset, but you get an additional 1 when you're using stablecoins? Is that 1 in addition to?
No, it's actually less. So
Okay.
one for stablecoins, 2 for non-stable coins.
Got it.
And then as you, I think in the blog it has this too, and as you go through if people are going through the UI at all, there's some boosted assets. So these will be limited. So I think right now it's Sol only.
Right. It is Sol earns 3 XP per dollar.
Yep. So this will continue to also grow into new boosted assets. And then there's the boosted chains. So right now it's also Solana and Hyperliquid are the two. And then the 10x is right now on Unichain. And like I said before, we'll continue adding new chains there. Imagine some of the bigger launches coming up this quarter, new chains that we're partnered with. We'll likely have a campaign going live with those launches. So definitely be on the lookout for, if you're going to a new chain, Portal's going to help you get there, and why not go through this program and earn points while you're at it.
And I'm learning now another way in which we can earn XP is by staking W, and that's coming soon to Portal.
Yes.
Okay.
That's in the next release. This was actually a ton of engineering work.
Okay.
It took many months. So we've done a whole first round, and then the next kind of release, the next version is going to include staking.
Okay, I think Leo, can we bring this up on the show? Can we get a view of Portal Earn? Bang. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Dan, you should see this if you click on the square there. So we've got full send, earn XP. We're a little zoomed in here, but we can see this. Earn XP, go Hyperliquid and Solana to Unichain, boosted tokens and chains, and we can earn activities. And there's all these things that we can do to earn more XP. Guys,
yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see more of these.
Beauty. Transfer stablecoins, transfer tokens. I mean, you guys make it easy. We want this. We want XP. We want boosted chains, boosted tokens, and more rewards. And so, man, you guys have come a long way. I think, we saw the Wormhole W token launch. We know where you guys are headed. How if we're zooming out a little bit more now, how do you think about the interop space is just so cutthroat, so competitive. Like, where are you guys at in terms of market share? What are the routes that you guys are dominating, and what do you think comes next here?
Yeah, market share is interesting in the interop space because it tends to fluctuate with new chain launches. If you go back, I think around the beginning of the year, this year, we were leading. It's basically at this point, the interop space at the messaging level is a 2-man race. It's us and Layer Zero. Layer Zero's done a great job, to their credit. We've done a great job over the years. Chainlink has almost no adoption. They do a lot of press releases, but that's about it. On the interop side, they've done a great job on the Oracle side. But as far as us and Layer Zero, we've got 2 big chain launches coming up in the next month or so. So I'm expecting a ton of new volume on the Wormhole side in the next couple months. And then as far as what we're looking at going into next year, there's a couple themes I'd say institutional assets is one where we're clearly the leader in the space. We've got around 3.5 billion in AUM using Wormhole right now, and that's teams like BlackRock, Apollo, Van Eck, Hamilton Lane, and several others. In our partnership with Securitize, who's been a great partner of ours for a little over a year. We're going to continue to grow the AUM of the funds that are already using Wormhole, and we're going to continue helping them expand to new chains. Like I said, even these institutions are thinking about crypto as like we are. It's not one chain. They want to launch, quote unquote, globally across every chain that they possibly can, because that's new users, that's new market share. The second category for 2026 is stablecoins. USDC and USDT are doing a lot of volume through Wormhole now because of Portal. Especially on the USDC side, Portal makes it really easy for users to send USDC across chains, and it's still leveraging the USDC's CCTP protocol, cross-chain transfer protocol, kind of behind the scenes, but leveraging the Wormhole front end. And then another thing that we're really excited about within this stablecoin category are these stablecoin platforms, and I would call out M0 specifically. M0, I would say, is still flying a little bit under the radar because they are a platform, but their stablecoins are getting headlines. Teams like the MetaMask USD are using M0 under the hood. There's about 5 or 6 different stablecoins now that are out on the market, leveraging this kind of out of the box. Someone compared it to pump.fun for stablecoins is basically what M0 is. So they're pumping out a bunch of new stablecoins, making it really easy for the asset issuers. And then Wormhole messaging is behind the scenes, helping these things be natively burned and minted and kind of natively multi-chain from day one, wherever they launched.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a ton of sense. And this is a balance for you guys. And I'm actually curious just to learn a little bit more about the mentality and the philosophy at Wormhole, because XP is great. Retail wants rewards. That's great for retail, but enterprises, are thinking, they're thinking on the scale of like you said, launching globally, thinking a little bit different than XP. And so when you're expanding, you're looking at the strategy broadly, and you're looking at how you can maximize stablecoin flows. You're looking at issuance. You're looking and to partner with some of these enterprises. Can you describe a little bit more about some of the partnerships that you have with M0, with Securitize? How are you leveraging these partnerships to ultimately provide the best experience for enterprise and land more of those? Are they exclusive partnerships? What are enterprises using Wormhole for now? How do you help them facilitate that?
Yeah. An interesting thing after this whole, it's been about 2 years of these conversations. And then in the past year, a lot of it started to go live. And looking back on it, one of the things we realized is that the thought and the work and the extra effort that we put into the security and decentralization of the network ended up paying off a lot. About, what was it, 2023, Uniswap did a bridge assessment back then when they were making a decision around Uniswap governance, expanding to new chains and using a bridge to send that data across chain. And Wormhole came out of this 3-month study that this independent group did on bridge security and decentralization. And Wormhole came out on top of that report. Axelar was kind of second. They had a one condition they had to update. And then Layer 0 came out not approved because of the centralization and kind of the security risk of Layer 0 at the time. Layer 0 probably has made some updates to their protocol since then, but there's a lot of risk in using a 2 of 2 multisig to run a bridge that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars. And that still happens today.
Who does that? Layer 0?
Yeah. They have this DVN thing that was branded as decentralized, but the reality is that a lot of it goes through a 2 of 2 multisig. And when you see these days where they're doing tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm actually a little bit worried about the centralization risk there. And when we had these conversations and we did a lot of the due diligence with teams like BlackRock, it always came back to the fact that we had 19 independent, doxed, public validator companies running Wormhole's network, including people like Google Cloud, Kraken, and several others. And that paid off for us. It's not easy to run a 19 a 19 validator network versus a 2 of 2. And the reason is, for us to expand to a new chain, let's talk about Monad, for example. All 19 of these validators have to learn how to use Monad. They have to spin up a new node and run a full node for Monad. Doing that with coordinating 19 entities versus doing that with 2, and one of them you run yourself, is a lot easier. So there's a benefit in being able to expand faster. But when we were talking to BlackRock, they want to know who these validators are.
Right.
And then a lot of these institutions want to be able to even legally take action if they had to in the worst case scenario. So this work that we put in and the thought that we put into the architecture helped us with that Uniswap report. It helped us with winning the BlackRock deal, the securitized deal. And then now these institutions, they kind of see Wormhole as the default option because the security is so important and the decentralization is so important. And a third thing also is just open source code. Wormhole is 100% open source, and that's also not the case with a lot of the other interop providers. So these institutions want to be able to go into the GitHub and look at what they're using and not be using this kind of essentially a black box.
Yeah, naturally. If I'm BlackRock or Securitized, I'm thinking the same way. Dan, this has been an incredible conversation. I'm glad you brought the spicy takes. And Portal Earn is live as well. So it's been a fun conversation. You're our last guest of the day. Wrap us up. Last guest of the week, man. Any closing thoughts as we go into the weekend?
I would say the timeline's been bearish, but I'm extremely bullish. So I think people should be positive. We've got a lot of good macro news coming. Rate cuts are not stopping. Trump wants the economy to do well. I think in general, the next 6 months look very positive for me. So I'd say stay positive. We're building amazing things in this industry, and I think we just got to keep our heads up and fight through the short-term noise and keep an eye on the big picture.
Love it. Very cool, man. Stay positive, stay patient, and have a great weekend. Dan, appreciate you coming
Yep.
on. And
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Keep up the great
Thanks,
work.
guys.
Cheers, brother. All right, guys. Incredible. That's it. Great show. Man,